Welcome back. Today we are jumping right into the foundational lore of the Blue Ice Universe. This explainer is going to break down the exact inciting incident that kicked off a lifelong war, literally the events of the very first book. We're going to look at how a single, mysterious alien artifact gave birth to a terrifying superdrug, completely tore the Cruz family apart, and somehow turned them into humanity's absolute last hope. So let's just get right into it, shall we? Now, to really wrap our heads around this massive saga, we have to ask a pretty crazy question. How exactly did a quiet, unassuming patch of dirt in Los Angeles County become ground zero for a global catastrophe? This wasn't some top-secret government bunker or a billion-dollar corporate lab. No, this was the Cruz family ranch. We're talking rolling hills, alfalfa fields, just a peaceful sanctuary way off the grid. And honestly, that contrast is what makes the whole thing so gripping. The apocalypse didn't start with like a massive alien armada in the sky. It literally started quietly, right in a family's backyard. Okay, so our story kicks off in the spring of 2026 with a cosmic catalyst. Imagine a blinding needle of white, silver, and ultraviolet light just smashing into an area of the ranch known as Devil's Wash. Over the next few weeks and months, the rock slowly sank deep into the soil, and then things got weird. The Cruz family actually began exhibiting this incredible supernatural vitality. They completely stopped getting sick, their bodies got stronger, their minds sharper, even their livestock started dropping twins and triplets all the time. The soil itself had fundamentally changed, and it was taking them right along for the ride. But let's be clear, this thing wasn't just your run-of-the-mill charred space rock. It was this flawless, monolithic teardrop of hammered silver. It was completely iridescent, and it actually emitted this rhythmic heartbeat and a really intense, hypnotic warmth, but a warmth that had absolutely nothing to do with fire. It was essentially an ancient biological catalyst, just a cosmic spark sitting quietly in the dirt, waiting for the wrong person to come along and unlock its devastating potential. Which brings us right to the core conflict of the whole story. For the Cruz family, who were super grounded and wholesome, this artifact was just providing natural healing and protection. But enter MODOK. When this absolutely ruthless crime lord realized what was happening out on that ranch, he definitely did not see a medical miracle. He saw unlimited power. So while the rock was healing the Cruz family, it was simultaneously sparking this incredibly dark, ambitious obsession in MODOK, one that would eventually doom millions.
Actually, let's talk about MODOK for a second, because his background is what makes him so terrifyingly dangerous. He wasn't just some random street thug. He was raised by this abusive, failed prospector who spent his life chasing rare metals in the desert. So MODOK learned super early on that every single system has a breaking point, right? He used his sheer, calculating brilliance to climb the ranks of the Russian mafia and the cartels. But his absolute ace in the hole? He was secretly married to Mia, who was the aunt of the Cruz brothers. He totally weaponized this intimate family tie, showing up at family gatherings just to quietly observe the Cruz family's newfound strength up close.
So totally under the radar, MODOK kicks off a clandestine mining operation. He used silent drills and stealth drones to literally siphon out the alien rock from the absolute edges of the Cruz property. And then, in a stroke of just pure evil genius, he took those rare alien particles and synthesized them with the rare earth metal palladium and raw crystal meth. He actually managed to bridge the gap between human narcotics and raw cosmic energy. And that dark alchemy birthed Methalloid V1. Now, you have to understand, this wasn't just a high. This was a terrifying substance that literally rewrote human DNA. By combining the alien mineral with palladium, which acted kind of like a permanent conduit inside the body, and then binding the whole thing with meth, it gave users temporary, godlike superhuman abilities. We're talking immense strength, blinding speed, rapid cellular healing, all mixed with this overwhelmingly addictive euphoria, a literal game changer. To make matters worse, MODOK and his lead chemist, Dmitri, were smart enough to brilliantly disguise this chaotic magic. They packaged all that overwhelming power into these sleek, metallic blue glass inhalers, stamped perfectly with Methalloid V1.0. They took raw, unstable alien energy and turned it into a polished, mass-produced consumer product. And it was completely ready to be sold to the absolute most dangerous bidders on the planet. MODOK's ambition here is just off the charts. He literally takes this bottled godhood straight to the US military with this chilling pitch. He tells them, traditional armies rely on weapons, armor. Methalloid turns every operative into a living weapon. He even proved that a single operative could shrug off fatal damage and bend steel. But here's the kicker. The military was just a pawn to him. His real plan was to secretly sell the stuff to cartels, the Russian mafia, and rogue states so he could pull the strings and control the absolute chaos that was about to follow. Well, Modak's perfect little plan finally hits a brick wall. The clock runs out when Detective Danny Cruz and his brothers stumble onto the whole sprawling conspiracy. Danny's covert informant, Skye Buckland, gets brutally tortured but still manages to leak the truth. Then Adam Cruz, the scientist of the family, figures out the horrific DNA mutation the drug is causing. And worst of all, they find out Modak's ultimate endgame is to use a loan default from the youngest brother Alex to legally steal the ranch and secure a total monopoly on the alien rock. And that right there is the spark that shatters the piece forever. The whole narrative just erupts into chaotic, simultaneous violence. We get this massive dual assault. On one side, the Cruz brothers, who are absolutely fueled by adrenaline and their own natural residual exposure to the alien soil, raid Morak's government-funded AI labs to destroy the formula and steal his contracts. But at the exact same time, MODOK launches a devastating superpowered hit squad against the quiet Cruz ranch to wipe out their parents and just take the land by force. The climax is literally a kinetic bloodbath. The brothers race back to the ranch to intercept MODAK. And because they've been living on that mutated soil for years, bullets are just bouncing right off their skin. It's wild. So, in a totally desperate bid to match their strength, MODAK wildly overdoses on his own creation. He's just taking hit after hit of methalloid until his greedy lungs and his biomechanics literally start failing from all that raw, uncut alien power. His body simply couldn't process the godhood he engineered. But, MODAK is the ultimate survivor. Even as his body starts shutting down, his skin going pale, his heart completely erratic, his loyal enforcers trigger an explosion and drag him into the smoke. But just before he completely vanishes into the shadows, a bloodied, beaten MODAK looks back and leaves the brothers with this incredibly arrogant taunt. "I told you, I always win." It's a terrifying reminder that winning a fistfight didn't actually stop his grand design. And the tragic part is, MODAK kinda did win something that night. The true emotional core of this entire universe, the thing that drives everything that comes next, is this exact heartbreaking moment. James Cruz sacrifices his life to save his wife Lisa from the crossfire. He literally takes the bullets meant for his family and bleeds out on the wooden floor of the home he built. It instantly grounds all that crazy superhuman magic into a very real, devastating loss. So in the immediate aftermath, the board is entirely reset. MODAK has completely vanished into the global underground. General Howard and the US military swoop in, seize the broken ranch, and take all the alien soil for the government. And amidst all this unbearable grief, the four brothers stand over their father's grave and swear an oath. They make a vow to hunt MODAK down, rip his empire apart, and avenge their dad. But wait. Just when the military thinks they've got the threat totally contained at MODAK's facility, the screens flicker. Broadcasting from some untraceable location, MODAK hacks straight into the secure government network. He delivers this final, devastating holographic broadcast that just proves, once again, he was 10 steps ahead the whole time. And he doesn't just show up to taunt them. He drops an absolute statistical bomb. 30,000. That's the number. He confirms to everyone watching that he has already successfully leaked exactly 30,000 methalloid inhalers onto the global black market. The drug is already out there, guys. It's in the hands of cartels, rogue states, and criminals. The age of ordinary warfare? Yeah, that is officially over. Which leaves us with one heck of a final thought. Pandora's box is wide open. Humanity is forever changed, infected by this mix of cosmic magic and chemical madness. So we have to ask ourselves, what are these four brothers willing to sacrifice to fulfill their vow? I mean, how do you even hunt down a man who's rapidly turning himself into a god, especially in a world newly overrun by 30,000 superhuman monsters? It's literally the perfect setup for the war to come. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer. I really hope this breakdown gave you a fun, clear look into the brilliant and totally chaotic origins of the Blue Ice universe. See you next time.